It's time for Inside the L, the podcast covering all things LaSalle athletics and taking you behind the scenes. And now, here's your host, Ed LeFurge.
What's up, Explorer fans? That's right. You are now tuned in to Inside the L, the podcast. I'm your host, Ed LeFurge. We thank everybody who tuned in to our first episode as we launched. We're really appreciative of the support and the love that everybody's showing us on all of our different platforms. Be sure to go ahead and subscribe and leave a review on Apple Podcasts and follow us on Spotify by searching LaSalle Athletics on both platforms. Our second episode here, we kind of teased it at the end of the first one. We brought back Brian Baptiste, LaSalle AD, to finish going over. We had so much to talk to him about. We didn't even get the chance to talk about all of the success of our teams and the good things that went on in his first year as the AD. And then for our alumni spotlight, we're going to be partnered up with a man a lot of people know, men's basketball alumni, Mr. BJ Johnson. We'll hear from him about his experience in the bubble and, you know, everything the NBA was dealing with in terms of COVID-19 and, you know, his process and what LaSalle's meant to him. So let's get going right away. We've got the athletic director here of LaSalle University, Brian Baptiste. Brian, you had your 1-year anniversary at the beginning of August. Congratulations. Happy anniversary. How you doing?
I'm doing well. That first year went by in a flash. And so, you know, I think when you're having fun and you're doing something that you love, it goes by pretty fast, but it's crazy to think that it's been a year already. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's really wild to see that. I mean, it feels like it was just yesterday we were standing there for your introductory press conference. But
absolutely for sure. So, you know, it's funny when you look back at those pictures, and I just think about my family that was there, and as the family grows, and you see how, you know,
sure,
they've changed since that picture. So
yeah, I mean, your youngest daughter was an infant at that point, right? She was only a couple months old.
Now she's walking and she's talking, and she is controlling things in the house. So it's fun to see how quickly they grow, and you have to certainly cherish these moments, right? Because I remember my oldest is 15 and she's now a 10th grader, and it seems like yesterday she was an infant as well too. So just, you know, cherish those moments that you have.
It's exciting. So we'll dive right into it. Let's start right at the beginning in the fall. That was a really successful semester for our programs. We'll take a look at the numbers. We had 2 A-10 championship titles. We'll get into that. 3 major award winners, 21 Atlantic 10 postseason award winners, 31 conference weekly award winners, a 95% graduation success rate, all things you love to see as an AD, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It was incredible to see how we started out the fall, just tremendous momentum, and, you know, just seeing that our student athletes, our coaches really embraced the challenge of being excellent in everything that we're trying to do and we're trying to pursue. So, for the fall to happen the way it did, it was just a tremendous way to really kind of start my tenure. But kudos to the student athletes and the coaches and the staff, right? Like, they're really putting in the work, and I think it's a testament to everything that they did in the summer and the spring leading up to being able to really get to the end goal and achieve those really tremendous accomplishments.
No doubt. Obviously, the fall season was highlighted by a pair of Atlantic 10 championships from both men's and women's cross country. You were on hand for that event. What was that like? I mean, this is your the first A-10 championship, I would imagine, for you as an AD to physically be at, and both of your squads come away with the title. Kind of gives you some bragging rights amongst your colleagues in the conference.
It certainly did. I received some text messages from some peers, and, you know, first A-10 championship and you sweep, right? I don't know if that's beginner's luck or whatever the case may be, but it was really cool I remember driving down that morning and and just hoping and praying that I'll get there in time to see both races. And, certainly when you're at a cross country meet and you're running across the course and you're just trying to see the student athletes and give them some encouragement, and hopefully just being there in the presence gave them a little extra boost. I'm sure they didn't need it because of all the work that they did leading up to it, but it was really cool. It was one of the coolest moments, I would say, of my professional career, to be part of that. And just being around parents and alums and teammates that weren't racing but came down to support as well too. So and just hearing some responses from some dialogue from after the race, and just talking about how cool it was to be able to have that support there and encourage them. And it doesn't hurt to hear LaSalle's name and then hear LaSalle's name again on the award stand, and just keep hearing our name. So that was really a neat moment for sure. So I'll never forget that.
And I'll tell you what, I want to give our listeners kind of a behind the scenes feel. One thing that you did after, and I really appreciated this as a staff member, during one of our monthly staff meetings, you brought both teams into the staff meeting with their trophies, and the entire staff and coaches, everybody giving them a standing ovation, round of applause. And I thought that was a really cool way to honor them. And I don't know, it helped reinsure that sense of, hey, I'm a part of something bigger than just myself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that those young people deserve it, right? They worked really hard. We talk about being a family, and I think you have to celebrate those moments, right? And I think what we're going through right now further reinforces the fact that we have to celebrate those accomplishments when we achieve those things and we work really hard. And it's just fun to be able to do that. And I hope that we do that a lot more, right? Like, that's the plan. Like, we got to do that a lot more. And to celebrate when we achieve something really incredible. And, just to think about, right? Both teams won Coach of the Year, Newcomer of the Year. I mean, it's an incredible feat for sure.
Kudos to head coach Tom Peterson and his crew for the success that they had and bringing those titles back to 20th and Olney. Moving away from cross country, as a whole, it was the best fall schedule in nearly a decade, with the most teams advancing to the Atlantic 10 Championship since 2011. So almost a decade since we've had that many teams participating in their respective sports championship. What does that show about the future of where LaSalle athletics is going?
Really, I think it provides motivation. One of the things that I said in the first all-staff meeting, if you remember, right? Like, we want to be excellent at everything that we're pursuing. And so I think people really took that to heart. And I think it's contagious when you win, when you're winning in the right manner. And the plan is to continue to do that, right? Is to put resources and tools around our program from a support standpoint to allow them to have success. And so one of the things that we want to do is we want to have sustained success, right? Like, how do we create an environment where we have sustained success, where the expectation is that all of our teams are competing in postseason, right? And, that only helps with recruiting. It helps with the environment on campus, the vibrancy, and not just for recruiting for student athletes in the athletic department, but I think recruiting as an entire university from an enrollment standpoint. And so, I just think it's really important. And so to be able to have that environment and to take that step and to set that foundation and continue to build on that foundation is really important.
No doubt. Moving away from the fall and kind of into the winter, obviously men's and women's basketball both have some storied histories at LaSalle. The men's squad showed a really good improvement, upping its win percentage by 28% to finish at 500 in just year 2 under head coach Ashley Howard. The season included claiming the Gulf Coast Showcase tournament title with 3 victories over 20-plus win teams, what is this type of improvement and improvement in only year two say about the program and coaches' desire to regaining a trip to the NCAA tournament?
So it's a journey, right? It's a journey. And I think the important part of remembering that is that journey seeks continuous improvement, right? And it shows the growth. When you talk about the foundation, when you're building a program and building it for sustained success, like you want to continue to see that growth and getting the buy-in and getting the student athletes to all believe in a common goal, right? I mean, it's tremendous to be able to see that we're moving in the right direction, right? And I feel really great about the things that are happening with that program for sure. And you know, we talk about that we have ambitious goals and we shouldn't shy away from those ambitious goals. And so what do we need to do to get back to those storied glory days for a program? And that's what we're headed towards, right? To get to the NCAA tournament and to make that the expectation, right? And to continue to do those things. So I'm not going to shy away from the fact that we have ambitious goals for our program. And I hope that excites our student athletes. I hope that excites our coaches. I hope that excites our alums and our fan base as well, too. And so for us to really do something special.
And, you know, similarly on the women's side, second-year head coach Mountain McGilvery and company more than doubled both its overall and conference win totals from last year, including a victory over Penn State, which was the first one in, I believe 1988. It included a first-time ever sweep of St. Joe's, including a win at Hagan Arena for the first time in nearly 20 years. On the year, more than 60% of the team's scoring came from underclassmen, and next season it returns its top 5 scorers. What does the improvements made by this team show about the direction that they're going?
Yeah, I think the same thing, right? So you think about you beat a Power 5 program and you beat it in the manner that you beat the program, right? To be able to come back and get it done at their place. Probably the motivation to be able to get some ice cream afterward, right? If anybody knows anything about the creamery there. But I think it just shows that when you get the right nucleus together, and, you know, I think if everybody has watched our women's basketball program, the way that Mountain, right, they play and 5 in and something. And so it's just that it's a barrage of just energy and everyone gets to play and it's infectious. And so it shows that we're trending in the right direction, right? I'm really excited to see the growth. You talked about, you know, the fact that we're able to sweep St. Joe's. And so that certainly helps, right, in the city to be able to do those things. And then, you know, just the opportunity to continue to be motivated, right, to continue to get to the next level, like every year, to continue to see that progression. So I'm excited to see the things that the women's basketball program has the ability to do this year as well, too. So, you know, we got with both programs, we have newcomers and really talented, and I'm excited to see like their growth. But obviously, when you talk about the returners that are coming back for both programs, the things that they'll be able to kind of do moving forward on the basketball court. So I know, you know, they're excited to be in the gym and you know, get some shots up, but continue to bond and get stronger as a group, right? So I think like those are the things that will pay dividends for us when in any game you're going to have some adversity, right? And you're going to have to adjust to some change. And I think when you have an environment where you created the atmosphere where it's a family, you created the atmosphere from an accountability standpoint where everyone understands and they realize that we're all moving towards the same goal. I think it certainly helps, right? So I'm really excited, and I hope others are excited as well too, to kind of continue the progression and the growth for both of those programs.
Yeah, it's definitely an exciting time in the department with the success that we had in the fall and men's and women's basketball doing as well as they are and the improvements that they're making. It's going to be exciting what happens at 20th and Olney over the next few years. There's a lot of good things coming.
Absolutely.
We talk about the turnarounds and the improvements that these teams made, and you hit on this a little bit, but like, what does it say about the mindset and the characteristics that these teams have, right? Like, they're going into games knowing that people are probably thinking they can beat up on them, but they don't They don't let that bother them. I mean, the men's team goes off and beats 3 20-win teams. The women's team goes in and, beats Penn State. Like, those aren't things that are meant to happen when you're the underdog, right?
Listen, we got a chip. We got a chip on our shoulder. And so I think it's important for us to, like, we're going to embrace the mentality that to do things that people think that we can't do, right? And so I think that that's important when you talk about like the grit, right? When you talk about the characteristics that you're looking for in individuals from a recruiting standpoint, when you're thinking about your staff, right? Everyone has the same mindset that we're going to work really hard. We're going to do it together. We're going to be a strong team. We're going to hold each other accountable. Like, those are the things that are going to really pay off in the long run when it gets tough, right? When you are, when you're on the road and you're down by 12, right? But you know that you've done it before. You've been put in those situations where you're able to achieve, where you know that if you work really hard at practice, you're going to get the opportunity to be able to compete, right? And so it's not just the physical part of the game, but also the mental part of the game too. And so how do we create all of those environments to allow those programs to have that success? And I think we're doing it the right way. I think we're doing it the right way for sure. So the 2020-21 season is going to be exciting. I feel really good about that. I feel really good about that. And so I can't wait. I can't wait for us to get the news on what's happening with the start and to play some games, right? So it'll be fun for sure.
I think everybody is looking forward to getting back to that normalcy and having, basketball being played at Tom Gola and all across the country. That's AD Brian Baptiste. I'm Ed LeFurge. We're going to take a break here. Head into our alumni spotlight with men's basketball alumni BJ Johnson. He's a part of the Orlando Magic organization. Keep it locked right here on Inside the L, the podcast. All right, we are back on Inside the L, the podcast. Time for our alumni spotlight series, and joining us, a very recognizable name amongst the men's basketball community here at LaSalle, BJ Johnson. BJ, first and foremost, thanks for joining us. How are you? How's your family during the pandemic? What's it been like? How are you?
I'm good, man. Just got back. Finally getting to spend some time with my daughter. Last time I seen her, she was like pretty much not doing anything. So now, like, being home now and seeing her like on the move is crazy.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And, you talk, and first of all, congratulations on the birth of your daughter, Indy. I understand that you were expecting to be playing a game in Charlotte the night she was born. Tell us about that. How's she doing?
Good. That was a wild day for sure. Now I woke up and my girl was like, I don't feel good. So I'm like, all right, so what do you want me to do? And we had like a doula helping us through the process. So she was like, I don't think the baby's coming anytime soon. So like, just play in the game and then come back after. And then I want to say like 30 minutes later, my girl was like, I think you should just come home, like just because. So I'm like, all right, let's see if I could do that. And then I got on a flight back. And like, as soon as I got back, she was probably born like 10 minutes later. So it was crazy, man.
Wild day for you. I can just tell sitting here, and, we conduct our interviews for the podcast over Zoom. And so I'm sitting here looking at BJ, and he's smiling from ear to ear, talking about his daughter. It's got to be an amazing feeling for you.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, this is crazy, like, knowing that, like, you have, like, a little human to, like, pretty much control their life for the most part. So it's definitely dope.
So, obviously we're going through the pandemic, and talk to us. You were obviously down there in the bubble with the Magic, and talk to us about the different like procedures you had to go through in order to be down there.
So after they stopped the season, I mean, everybody just kind of went their separate ways, and then prior to going back into the season, it was kind of like we could only have individual workouts back in Orlando. So every day it would just be an individual workout, you and a coach, and they had to go through testing. I want to say once every 2 days when we were down there. So it would just be you and a coach. Coach is masked up, gloves on. After you're done, they take the basketball, sanitize them. Every player had their own set of basketballs. And then leading up to the bubble, getting closer to the bubble, we started testing every day. And then, once we got in the bubble, of course, we had to test every day to make sure, nobody inside of the bubble got it. So it's just a long process.
Sure. What was it like being inside the bubble? Like, what was that experience like? Like, certainly, you guys could only do certain things and go certain places. What was that whole experience like for you?
I'm pretty good with being on myself, but I would say towards maybe 3-4 weeks in, it was kind of getting repetitive, to the point where it was just it's basketball. Basketball is no escape from basketball. So I think a month in, I think a lot of people started feeling the effects of being away from your family, but no escape from basketball. So I mean, outside of that, I think the NBA did a good job of organizing things and giving you a little bit of things to do. But again, after a while, there's only so many times you can go golfing, and there's only so many times you could go fishing before you get tired of it. I think that as the bubble went on, I think people just kind of got fed up with that.
And so for you, and we talked about this a little bit before we got on the call here, but with your daughter being born in January, I mean, you were away for a while. What was that process like? How were you able to see her? I imagine there was a whole lot of FaceTime going on in order for you to at least be able to see Indy.
Yeah. So I was gone, I want to say 3 months. She's about to be 8 months now, so I would say I was gone from month 4 to month 7. And then for us, we just tried to FaceTime a couple times a day, just so she would kind of remember my face.
Sure.
The first day I got back, she wanted no part, nothing to do with me.
I imagine.
But I mean, as the days went on, she kind of got more comfortable with me again, and it's been pretty good.
And so we touched on the pandemic, but another issue going on in the nation, and one that the NBA has been at the forefront of trying to fix, is the social injustice going on. On your jersey, you had the phrase, "How many more?" in place of your last name. Why that phrase, and what message do you have to not only the LaSalle community, but the nation in general in order to create some change?
Well, the NBA gave us, a couple, a few phrases that we could use. So I decided to go with that one, just for the simple fact is we keep saying injustices go on, and there's who's gonna be the last one? You know what I'm saying? So like,
right.
Is like the next person that something happened to is like is that gonna be the one that changes like legislation and stuff like that? I feel like a lot of people went with like Black Lives Matter or equality or education reform, things like that. So I think it was just to highlight that like this keeps happening, and it was also like I wanted to be different than most people because I don't think this is probably one of the least used phrases. I just wanted to like put that question in people's heads, like how many times do we gotta keep saying this before the change happens?
And what message do you kind of have for the LaSalle community and the greater community as we look to help create change? What would you suggest that people do?
I'll say just like get educated on a lot of different issues. Like police brutality isn't like the only issue for minorities in this country, and I think voting has a big part in that. When I say that, I don't necessarily mean like the presidential elections. I mean like your local local elections. And I think like me included, I think these past 5 years that I've been able to vote, I think all of my voting habits have been surrounding the presidential elections, and I don't think a lot of people are educated on local things. I think the local elections can help going forward to the presidential election. So again, just trying to be as educated as possible to help change things.
Well, transitioning now to your career and how you got to where you are, and you originally decided to go to Syracuse, even though your dad, Bob Johnson, is a LaSalle Hoops alum, helped the Blue and Gold to 3 NCAA tournaments and the NIT Finals in 1987. What led to your decision to head up to Cuse?
That was my dream school. I mean, being a Philly guy and looking up to like Deion Waiters and Scoop Jardine, that's just always been like my dream school. So, once they finally offered me, that was pretty much like a done deal before they even like sold me on like the campus and stuff like that.
And so after 2 seasons there, you end up transferring to LaSalle. How did that decision come about, and what role, if any, did your father play in it?
No, I think I just wasn't playing as much as I wanted to at Syracuse, and I thought it was time for a change. And then, also when I made the decision to leave, I didn't want to go through like that whole recruitment process like all over again. I kind of had it shortened in a sense. But now him being here definitely. Matter of fact, I wouldn't even say it did that much of a. It was that much of a like deciding factor, but Coach G recruited me. Prior to when I first went to Syracuse, Coach G was recruiting me, and then when I announced that I was transferring, he was like one of the first guys to get in contact with me again. So just to show, it just showed me that like he was still like super interested and knew what I was capable of, and he just gave me a ton of confidence from day one.
Yeah, and I think that confidence certainly showed. I mean, you left your mark on LaSalle, and they're one of the most recognizable alums right now. What does LaSalle mean to you?
For me, I think it just shows like it just gives you that Philly edge. I mean, like to play LaSalle, like you got to be like, especially now, you just got to be a tough guy. Like, nobody looks at LaSalle to be, like, anything special, year in and year out. And, like, as a player, you just got to deal with that. And you got to, like, try to shut the outside noise out and just go get it. So, for me, it just helped me play with, like, a chip on my shoulder.
Yeah, and I think we've all seen that chip on your shoulder. I mean, your professional career has been a grind. You go undrafted, you bounce around between a few teams in the G League. And what was it like for you to spend this time this past year with the Magic and get the most games that you played in the NBA this season?
Yeah, so, for me, it's just like, I think I'm in a position right now where it's just like I know my time is coming. You just don't necessarily know when it is. So, every small opportunity you get, you just got to make the most out of it. Like, every opportunity, no matter how big or small, you just got to make the most out of it. Like this year, I had the big Lakers game. I had a couple games in the bubble. Last year I had my first game in Chicago. So every time I step on the court, I know that somebody's watching. Whether it's for the Orlando organization or somewhere else. But so for me, I just try to leave my mark on the game whenever I can.
So sitting here today, it's mid-September. What does the future hold for B.J. Johnson? Where do we see B.J. Johnson down the line?
This year coming up or
Sure.
further down the line than that?
Sure.
So this year, for me, I think every year I just want to, one up the season I did, the year before. So, my first year after going undrafted, I got 3 10-days. So that was a start, a solid start for an undrafted rookie. And then, last year, I got a 2-way. So that's a step up from, where I was last year. So, for me now, it's just like continue to take advantage of the opportunities, but like going into next season, like I don't want to be on 2-way. I want to be, a contract player for somebody, whether it's a minimum 1-year deal or whatever it is. So again, like this year coming up, I'm just trying to one up myself from last year.
Well, BJ, we're proud of you here back at LaSalle. We're always watching you. We're rooting for you. Thanks so much for giving us some time today and joining the podcast.
For sure. Thanks for having me.
That's BJ Johnson, played for the Orlando Magic, notable LaSalle men's basketball alum, and we thank him and his daughter Indy for her commentary in the background too. Stay tuned. We'll be back with Athletic Director Brian Baptiste. Yeah, we're back. Thanks to B.J. Johnson for giving us some time talking about his experience at LaSalle in the league, the NBA bubble experience, and everything that's been going on in his life. We appreciate him taking the opportunity to catch up with us back here at 20th and Olney. We're back with the athletic director, Mr. Brian Baptiste, and continuing this year in review. We talked about the fall sports. We talked about men's and women's basketball. To take a step away, certainly the spring wasn't what we anticipated with the pandemic hitting, and we touched on that in episode 1. But as a whole, academically, from the beginning to the end of the year, our teams were on fire. A 3.35 GPA for the 1920 school year and a 3.30 cumulative GPA. You had 24 of 25 programs above a 3.0, 16 of those 25 above a 3.5, and 73 perfect 4.0 semesters by LaSalle student athletes. You're grinning. We're on Zoom here. We do keep the video on, And you're smirking as I read those numbers. Why would that makes you
No, I'm
proud?
just really proud. No, I'm just really
Yeah.
proud. I think we should make all of us proud, right? When you think about the tremendous student athletes that we have and the fact that they, we talked about what they did athletically, right? And so to be able to realize that they're also doing great things in the classroom and they're motivated to do great things in the classroom, and it doesn't matter even with the adversity, right, and having to adjust in the spring and the remote learning, the fact that they still perform tremendously well, I think it's a testament to the type of student athletes that we have. I think it's a testament to the fact that our coaches make it a priority, our staff like really make it a priority, that we're creating the environment where people, that our student athletes understand the importance of the academic piece as well too. When we talk about this transformational experience, right, we always talk about the academic component first, because
Right.
we think about how that is going to prepare them for life after they walk across the stage. And so I'm just really proud. I'm really proud. I don't know. It should make everyone proud, right? And so, but kudos to our young people for really putting in the time and the effort and the energy and making it a point of emphasis for them, right? And it will always continue to be a point of emphasis for us moving forward.
Certainly, and looking at some more numbers, 263 on the A10 Commissioners Honor Roll. That's up 43 from last year. 6 programs with at least 20 plus honorees. It's just amazing the success that these student athletes are having. We talked on the field. We've now talked in the classroom. Now we're going to touch on the community. 1,872 total hours from the end of August through mid-March in community service hours. That it's LaSalle student athletes have hit the trifecta.
I think so. I think so. I think it was a challenge that I gave to the student athletes at the beginning of the welcome back event.
Yep.
And, I think it was really important for us to be engaged in the community, right? And so when you think about, you go to elementary school, right? Or you go to a boys and girls club, or you go to a food bank, right? Like those young people, really young people, are looking at our student athletes as hope, right? They're looking at them as inspiration. And so we can never take for granted the impact that we're having on the community, and we want to invest in the community. And so community services is a way for us to do it. Like, we have to be really ingrained in our community. I think it's really important, because we, that could be a future explorer, that we that one instance or interaction motivated them to say, you know what, I could be in their shoes in 10 years, right? I could be in their shoes in 12, 15 years, whatever the case may be. So I just think it's so incredibly important. And we were just scratching the surface, right? You talked about that was from August to March. And so I can only imagine that we were planning to do some more things
Sure, an additional 2.5
prior to.
months. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, but this gives us an opportunity to think about what are other things that we can do in the community to really make an impact, right? And we'll continue to do those things because it's just too important, and it needs to be ingrained. And I think the numbers show ingrained in the fabric of our department, for us to be able to. And when you think about what we stand for as an institution, it just makes it makes so much sense. And I think that's what attracts student athletes also to our institution, the fact that they realize that there's another calling for them, right? That they have to invest back in the community, because they are going to go off and be leaders, and so those pieces are just important for us. So kudos again to our student athletes, but then I think the coaches too, right? You have to
Sure.
make it a point of emphasis, and certainly we have a staff member that helps us, from a project teamwork coordinator that helps us navigate those environments and connect us with organizations that we can help. And so I just think it's all around really special thing that we're doing.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note that a lot of those hours came locally in the community. I'm not talking down in Philadelphia, Center City. I'm talking in the neighborhoods surrounding campus and at the local elementary schools surrounding campus. So, it's good that we're as a department, and our student athletes and our coaches and everybody realizes that, hey, the importance of, we're a community. It's not just LaSalle and then the local people. It's everybody. Like, we're all together. We're one community, and we certainly show that with the community service that we've done.
Yeah, one of our guiding principles, right? And I say this a lot, right? We achieve more together, and that includes, right, being really invested in the community. So
yeah,
excited about those numbers and the things that our young people are doing. So if they're listening, hopefully they are listening. Keep it up.
Definitely. Swinging into kind of the future and what's ahead. What can you tell us? What new initiatives are going on? What future plans can you share with us? Can you give some of our listeners kind of an inside scoop on what we can expect?
Yeah, so I think we're doing a lot of things. We talked about the voting initiative, right? That's really important for us to be able to invest in the community and help out, right, in a really important time. We're going to be doing a bunch of different things to help the development of our student athletes. So we have Game Plan, which is an online platform to allow us to provide different modules on a variety of topics to help them develop, right, to help their overall growth. And so we could do that in a multitude of ways. We're thinking about the mental piece too. And so being able to provide access to a program like Headspace from a mindfulness standpoint, like what are the ways that we can provide value, right, and added value to their experience. So I think that's important. We started this program called Defining Your Difference for our seniors. And it's really about, how do you tell your story? How do you create the narrative? So when you're going for a job interview or when you're networking, right, you're prepared to tell your story in the most impactful way possible. So I'm excited about that, to be able to do with those seniors. This is the first class that we're doing that with. And then, we talked about this. I believe we made the announcement maybe early in the spring or maybe late fall, partnering with TrueMark to do the financial literacy program. And we're talking about 16 modules and breaking the modules up into various sections. And so you can imagine, like, that's the investment that we're making to prepare our student athletes for life, right, after they cross that stage, life after they're no longer on 20th and only. And maybe they're still here because they're working on campus, but I think it's an opportunity for us to continue to invest in their growth and their development, because it's just too important, and to provide them with the skills, to provide them with the education, to give them the, I always talk about, like, the resources and tools to have that sustained success in life. And so it's really about how they're defining that success and how can we help them along the way to accomplish those goals that they set out to achieve when they stepped on our campus, and that they felt that they were able to get as much out of this experience as possible. And I think any opportunity we have to be able to provide them with a variety of experiences, that it's our obligation to do that. Like, how are we committed to providing opportunities to inspire excellence, right? And so as we go through the process, and we'll continue to come up with different initiatives to help them succeed. Like, that's just part of our mission and expectation and commitment moving forward.
Yeah, the success of student athletes, it's and I think a lot of people sometimes don't understand it. It's not just about wins and losses. It's about the academics we talked about, the community service we talked about, the preparing student athletes for life after graduation, and watching them go out and be successful. And it's definitely one of the parts of this job that I enjoy is seeing how successful our former student athletes are. So we're going to wrap up here with Brian, and we're going to do something new that I'm going to use moving forward to end the episodes with our main guest. It's called the Fast Five. You're going to get 5 rapid fire questions, and you're just going to answer it. And the first thing that comes to your mind, the first thing that you think of, you spit it out. You ready?
Okay. Yep.
First one. What is your go-to quarantine show?
Patriot Act on Netflix, or HGTV Mansion Makeover, I believe is the name of that show.
Okay.
Those are my 2.
Okay. What are your must-have quarantine items?
Am I inside or am I outside? I'm quarantining inside.
Your choice.
My phone, really important. My a bottle of water to make sure I'm hydrated. I would I'm trying to think. Some really comfortable sweats are important. I like to wear hats, dad hats in particular. And I think that those are probably my sort of go-to. Also chapstick in a weird way. Yeah. So
All right.
that's probably a story for another episode. But yeah.
We'll have to delve into that another time. Let's rewind a little bit. If you could go back to junior year of high school, and you could be offered a full scholarship for any sport, what would it be and why?
Any sport, probably track and field. So I think that that's something that those skills are something that you can take with you you can always be a runner, right? And so I kind of wish that I was a better runner. And so I think that if I was able to get a full scholarship in track and field, that means I'm really good in track and field, right? Because they don't give out full scholarships, like other sports. So I will go track and field.
Right. And last one's real simple. A big debate: blue or gold?
Blue.
Right. Why blue? Why not gold?
I just like something about blue. Something about blue. I just like it. So nothing wrong with gold, though. Nothing wrong with gold. Can I get blue with a little hint of gold?
A little hint.
Is that not? Yeah.
Accent?
Yeah. Is that an option? I'll go. I'll go with that.
All right. That's the athletic director, Brian Baptiste. Brian, thanks so much for giving us another part of your day to chat with us again.
No, I appreciate it. This is really fun, and I hope that everyone enjoys learning a little bit and getting a sneak peek, or we sort of pull back the curtain a little bit. So I'm excited to listen to the next episodes moving forward, and I encourage others to do it as well too. So thanks for everything that you're doing, Ed. This is great, and I can't wait to hear the next episodes for sure.
I appreciate that, Brian. We thank Brian and BJ for joining us here on our second episode of Inside the L, the podcast. Wouldn't be able to do the things we do without the support of Brian and the rest of the staff and the alumni who come back and are proud to have that degree from LaSalle University. So we're really, really happy and appreciative of that. We're really happy and appreciative of all of you listening as well. Like I said at the beginning, be sure to subscribe and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Give us a follow on Spotify by searching LaSalle Athletics on both platforms. We also, you don't have those platforms, no problem. Head over to our YouTube channel. We have that there. All of our episodes will be uploaded there as well. And, easy links. Follow us on social media, Twitter and Instagram @GoExplorers. We're gonna introduce down the line the opportunity for fans to submit some questions ahead of time for our guests and maybe include a little Q&A with our guests in the future. So be on the lookout for that. Again, thank you. We appreciate it. I'm your host, Ed LeFurge. This was Inside the L, the podcast, episode 2. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Inside the L, the podcast. Go Explorers!